first met Stan the T-Rex back in January of 1992. It was at that time that I was visiting with a friend, Don Parsons, from Rapid City, and he told me about this guy up in Buffalo, South Dakota, Stan Sackerson, who had found an articulated string of vertebrae in the Hell Creek Formation. I'm thinking, holy crap, an articulated string of vertebrae in the Hell Creek Formation? That's like almost unknown. The only dinosaur I know that had something like that was Sue at that time. So we made arrangements to go visit, and a young doctor's candidate, Gail Nelms, was with me. We went up to meet Stan in Buffalo, and he took us out to the site. And yes, here was a string of vertebrae, but 20 feet away, I could tell it was a T-Rex. Now, Stan had actually dug on this fossil back in 1987, and he showed it to a local paleontologist who said, oh, it's just a Triceratops. Well, even a Triceratops having a string of articulated vertebrae was a pretty cool thing. I mean, we just don't find that sort of thing in the Hell Creek Formation. So I don't understand why he didn't dig it, but I was glad that he didn't, because that allowed us, Black Hills Institute, begin excavation at the site the beginning of April in 1992. So we were working on the site, and we hadn't really let it out, be known to anybody, but all of a sudden, well, it was April, it was raining, we were sitting in the truck playing cards because we couldn't dig, and this reporter from the Rapid City Journal, Bill Harlan, walked up, and he had found out somehow that we were digging at this site on the Nemi Ranch, and he had stopped and talked to John Nemi, who thought, well, he was kind of this strange guy, but he told him where to go, and he had to actually walk about 3.5 miles to get to the site. So I figured, well, if he put that much energy into it, we'd go ahead and do an interview. And it ended up with a very nice cover story on the Rapid City Journal. So by the time we got this dinosaur out, we understood that it was one of the most complete T-Rexes that had been found. Having dug Sue just a few years ago, we had an idea of what we were looking at, and the difference was that Stan's skeleton was a lot more disarticulated. There was that string of vertebrae from the body that was articulated to a pelvis, but most of the rest of the skeleton was disarticulated, including the skull. And having a disarticulated skull of a T-Rex was something very, very important, especially since this skull was so complete. And it let us look for the first time to see how these bones interacted with each other. And it turns out that Tyrannosaurus Rex is not this giant fused skull that stays as one piece. Instead, it has a lot of movable joints. It has a movable joint here in the premaxillas. It has movable joint with the maxillas. It actually has the entire palate would move in various directions, could move in various directions. There's, of course, a joint right here in the middle of the lower jaw. And having a kinetic skull is very important to Tyrannosaurus Rex because it is biting through large bones and biting through carcasses of dinosaurs. And so you don't want to break those teeth. Those teeth are only replaced each one about every 3 years. So you don't want to lose several teeth each time you have a feeding, or you end up starving to death because all your teeth would be gone. So that kinetic skull was very, very important. It turns out that Stan Sackerson not only discovered Stan the T-Rex, but he also discovered a second T-Rex, which we call Duffy. And eventually we're going to have Duffy, the original skeleton, here in the museum as well. But for now, what we've got is this really, really wonderful cast of Stan the T-Rex, one of the best T-Rexes that has ever been found.